What's going on, guys? So I took to Instagram once again. Seems like this is a pretty fun and interactive format, is asking Instagram their thoughts on a very specific question. This time I asked them, what fragrance gives you the best chance at getting a compliment? I know, a compliment video. But I thought it would be interesting to see what type of feedback I get and see how similar my experiences are to those that I just asked the question to. And obviously, those of you watching this, I want to hear what you think. What's the fragrance that just kind of does it for you most of the time, or one that you could equate to being your most complimented, if at all, down in the comments. So I do have 8 of the 10 that got the most mentions. So there's 2 I don't have that we'll just be discussing that I am familiar with, I do have experience with. I just don't have bottles of them. So let's jump into this and see what 10 made it. Stay tuned. First one that made it, and this was the most mentioned. I always like to start these videos with the most mentioned, and it was Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. Not really much of a surprise here for me. In my experience, yes, it pulls a compliment here and there for sure, but it was one of the first answers, one of the first 2 or 3 answers, and it went on a little run. There was a stretch of 4 or 5 people in a row saying it. Like, it got the overwhelming most mentions. And I mean, I can't argue with it. The more lavender, soapy heavy take on Dior Sauvage. You know, this stuff is kind of known to be the smoother, more refined Sauvage. It's still a loud fragrance. It's easy to get some olfactory fatigue with this one. You'll think it's a weak fragrance. You'll be a few hours in, think you need to respray, and this is another one of those fragrances that I get olfactive fatigue with, and a severe case of anosmia, really, where I'll think it's pretty weak, and I've had experiences where several hours into wearing it, I'll walk by somebody, ooh, you smell nice. It does happen. Does it happen all the time for me? Absolutely not. Does it happen more for others than it does for me? Probably so. Everybody's experience is different, but it happens enough to where this fragrance got the most mentions. Like I said, no argument here from me. I'm not surprised this made it. This is one of the fragrances I think of when I think of compliments in the first place. These massive peeling fragrances tend to do the trick most of the time, and that seems to be the case. The most mentioned for the question, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. The one with the second most mentions. Obviously not all of these are directly in order, though it is kind of close. Actually, yeah, it is kind of close to the order in which they were tallied up, but YSL EDT. This one has made another one of these according to Instagram videos. It made the blue fragrance video, and it made the compliment video too. Another one that's not necessarily a surprise here. It's known to be a beast in many things. Performance, that being every aspect of performance, the sillage, the longevity and the projection, and compliment getting. It tends to be a compliment beast. That seems to be a lot of people's experience because people are going to smell you with this one. It's a monster. There's no way around it. Even if they don't say anything, they smell you when you're wearing this fragrance. Trust me. Even if you've gone anosmic and don't realize how strong this stuff is still pushing off of your skin. That's not really been my experience. I don't go anosmic to this one. It can overwhelm if I spray my chest or if it's pretty hot outside and I'm heating up. That's why I don't like wearing this one in the summer. This one can get cloying and overwhelming really fast, even with moderate 4 to 5 sprays. You start getting in the heavier dosage of spraying, this stuff fills a room. Everybody's going to smell you when you're wearing it. So the opportunity for getting a compliment is heightened. Obviously, there's more things that go into just wearing a fragrance to have a nice compliment: hygiene, appearance, attitude. There's so many things that go into that, but this is one of those fragrances that gives you more opportunity than other fragrances that are available. So another one that I was not surprised got mentioned so much. Another one I just can't argue with. One of the most complimented, according to Instagram's YSL EDT. Though this has been my experience with this being a high probability for getting a compliment from somebody, I was surprised this got mentioned enough to make the video, honestly. I know it's beloved, but when it came to the compliment factor, I didn't know how many times people would say, yes, definitely Mancera Cedrat Boise. Like I said, I was surprised. I love this fragrance. That's no secret on this channel. I have mentioned this one many of occasion. This stuff is great. My default answer for what's the safest first niche fragrance to get your hands on, because you can get it from discounters for an incredible price. You can get this stuff pretty cheap for the most part. For being a niche fragrance, pretty cheap. It's not 20 or 30 bucks, but in the 70-ish dollar range from discounters, sometimes cheaper than that, sometimes a little bit more. For what you're getting, for the versatility of this fragrance and the enjoyment of the scent profile, it's an above average performer, not really a beast performer for me. Some people get a little less, some get a little more, but it seems to be an overall consensus of this stuff has a good opportunity at pulling a nice compliment for you. And makes me happy that it made it. You know, I was very surprised though. I did not think this fragrance was going to get me. I figured it would get a mention or two, but I didn't think it would get enough to make the top 10 list. But if you haven't tried it yet, I mean, I've said it a million times at this point. Get your nose on this. This is such a great fragrance. Basket of fruits. That nice woody wicker basket type of smell with a variety of this fruity medley. That's not a very super sweet type of fruitiness. More of a fresh, lightly sweet type of fruitiness. Really, really good stuff. According to Instagram, one of the most well complimented of them all. Mancera Cedrat Boise. This next one, I was waiting on the train of answers for this one to start. And yeah, it was of the top 4 mentioned. I wouldn't have been surprised if this would have been the most mentioned, because for as old as this fragrance is at this point, it still just works. The original Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. Another one, I anticipated this making it. Because in my experience, it's still, even though I think you should get all of the flankers, any of the flankers, over this one at this point, because there's so much good happening in this line over the last several years. I can't knock people that still want to get it, because I mean, hell, I still wear it pretty regularly because my wife loves it. When your significant other loves a fragrance, of course you're going to wear it more often. That's the case here. That classic 90s cologne smell. This is your girl's ex-boyfriend or her uncle, her dad, maybe even her grandfather, depending on the age group we're talking about here. This was their signature scent and may still be their signature scent. There's good and bad memories tied to people smelling this fragrance, but it's as iconic as they come in men's perfumery. This defined a generation, and it's still doing so. It's still relevant today, though I think the others are more relevant and a bit more modern, and they obviously perform better as well. The new EDP, Profondo, Profondo Lights, Profumo. I like these flankers a lot more than this, but there's no denying the impact, and there's no denying that it still pulls a nice compliment. People are still going to tell you you smell good. The thing with this one is you're going to be familiar. You're going to smell familiar to most people because at least a handful of times over the years, they've smelled this fragrance on somebody at some point, or they're very familiar with it, and they'll say, ooh, you're wearing Acqua di Gio. So, Giorgio Armani, Acqua di Gio. Next, we have one that I was very surprised. This is one of those fragrances I don't have the bottle to. We're talking about Xerjoff Naxos. I have had an official sample from Xerjoff, the little box samples. It's a very beautiful honey tobacco fragrance, but it's never one that I found different enough from some tobaccos that I do have to make me buy a bottle. Obviously, it's incredible. It's hugely popular in the fragrance community and among niche, high-end luxury fragrance lovers. But I was surprised it got mentioned as much as it did. This is another one that surprised me, even more so than Mancera Cedrat Boise, because this is enthusiast type of stuff. This isn't your average fragrance consumer and purchaser that's going to answer this. But then again, the average consumer is probably not following me on Instagram in the first place. So kind of makes my point irrelevant, really, now that I think about it. But it's one that I can't knock it. It's a great fragrance. It smells so smooth and rich and deep. Thick, but not too thick. Sweet, but not too sweet. It is a beautiful fragrance. Performance is stellar on it. Maybe I do need to get a bottle at some point. I still have a couple of sprays left in that little sample. But it never put me in the position to where I felt like I needed to get it, and maybe this is the kick in the pants where I need to get it. Who knows? But according to Instagram, one of the best fragrances to give you a great opportunity to get a compliment, Xerjoff Naxos. Next is the other fragrance I don't have the bottle to. I do have a bottle to one of the other concentrations, but I felt like with Bleu de Chanel, the original Eau de Toilette, we would just talk about it exclusively. This is actually my least favorite of the Bleu de Chanels. I'll take the EDP 10 out of 10 times over it. I'll take the Parfum 100 times out of 10 over it. I love the Parfum. That's why it's the bottle I own. Though I do feel like the EDP is the happy medium between the two. You get some of the warmth and the enhanced woods that the Parfum has, but you still maintain a lot of that fresh citrus edge of the EDT. The EDT is a good fragrance. I don't hate the fragrance, and I'm not surprised in the least that this made it, because this is another generational defining moment type of fragrance, kind of like how Acqua di Gio was in the 90s, early 2000s. In the 2010s, 20s, you can look at Bleu de Chanel as that as well. Wildly popular, heavily sold, all three concentrations. Chanel keeps things close to the vest. It's hard to find fragrances in this line, any of the three concentrations, at a discounted price from retailers. You can hardly find them in gray market discount sites, if at all. So it's pretty sought after when people kind of get into this hobby. It's a great place to start. It's very well rounded. It's solid quality for being a citrus aromatic fragrance. And it definitely pulls a compliment. Super versatile. It's one of the most iconic, mass appealing crowd pleasers ever made. So I can't knock it. Even though it's my least favorite of the three. Can't deny. It definitely pulls compliments here and there. Probably more so than the Parfum, because it projects more. Because the Parfum that I have is a bit close to the skin, long lasting but rich and warm, smoother, the most refined of the three. That's why it's my favorite. But the EDT is definitely the one that projects the most, can reach out and really grab somebody and, on occasion, according to Instagram, captivate them to the point of wanting to give you a nice compliment. This was a surprise entrant. I didn't see this coming at all. One mention at most is all I would have thought this would have ended up getting, let alone enough mentions to crack the top 10. I still can't believe it. And I've sprayed it on my arm when I was putting these fragrances together. I have it on my arm. It's beautiful. I love it. I didn't know just how many people have had success with pulling a nice compliment from others when wearing Dior Homme Intense. Like I said, I love this fragrance. It's a beautiful fragrance that I don't wear enough. I wear the original more. I like to wear the Parfum. I kind of wear all of the flankers with Iris more than this one. This is kind of my least favorite of the four Iris dominant ones that were the last of the Mohicans on the market. The original Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Eau, and Dior Homme Parfum. This is kind of my least favorite, though still a gorgeous fragrance that I have a strong appreciation for. It's the sweetest of the ones I mentioned, but still maintains that beautiful waxy fantasy iris note. It's very sweet. The leather's toned back greatly here. It's a very refined and elegant fragrance. It definitely smells much more dressy than pretty much all of the fragrances in the line. This is the classiest, most dress me up of the scent profiles. And to have this one have cracked the top 10 didn't flabbergast me, but I was surprised. I really was, because I would have never thought this would have got pegged, but it just goes to show, you never know. Different situations, different skin chemistry types, different settings. You never know what's going to pull a nice comment for you. And enough people mention this one to surprise me and for it to make the video, and apparently well deserved. Even though I haven't had that experience, I don't know if I've ever really gotten a compliment, maybe one or two. Maybe with Dior Homme Intense. This is not one that's ever been something that's pulled compliments for me personally. But I love the smell. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. As long as you like what you're wearing, who cares what anybody else thinks, right? But according to Instagram, if you want an iris that's going to pull a nice compliment, you might want to take a look at Dior Homme Intense. You can't have a video like this without something from this particular line making it. And again, not surprised, the EDT concentration is what made it here, just like with Bleu de Chanel. We're talking Dior Sauvage. Hate it or love it. Can't deny. Shit works. I like this better than Bleu de Chanel, for sure. Love it. Good fragrance. Kind of my least favorite besides the Cool Spray. I'll take this over the Cool Spray all day long, but I like the EDP, the Parfum, and the Elixir better than this, but this is the one I wear the most. Because I do love the fragrance. I do. Hell, I like this more than this, but I still wear this more. So it's very strange, the relationship I have personally with Dior Sauvage EDT, because this is one of the early 2015, might even be a launch batch, honestly. It's February 2015. I don't know exactly when this came out. But it's back when the EDT was a 2 to 3 spray room filling beast. That is this bottle. I have the gift set. I have the aftershave splash as well, which I have used more recently than I've used the actual fragrance. Shower gel, fresh, spicy, super crowd pleaser. Metallic, very inviting, very versatile. You can wear this for any freaking thing. The only thing is, let's say you're wearing it to a nice party or event. You're more than likely not going to be the only one there wearing this. This is a lot of guys' favorite fragrances. There's a lot of guys that this is their favorite fragrance because their girl loves how this smells on them. It definitely pulls compliments. This is a bona fide compliment magnet. Has been since its inception. Okay? No surprise here that this made it. The EDP, sure, it could go hand in hand. It would be either one of these. I wouldn't have been surprised either way. But it's good stuff. You know, enthusiasts in the community that are more into the luxury fragrances, yeah, this is probably not a favorite of theirs. That's the type of people, not all, but the type of people that'll, you know, Sauvage, sick of it, don't want to smell it anymore. Done to death. I get it. Because you're going to smell it on a lot of people in a lot of different cities. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason so many people wear this. Pulls compliments. It's versatile. It's a really good performer. You can wear it for anything at any time. This can be a signature scent, whether you want to hear it or not. It's signature scent worthy, and that's what a lot of people use it for. Definitely pulls some compliments, Dior Sauvage EDT. This one I wasn't surprised by because I've had some recent success with it. I haven't had it for a long time. It will be in my rotation within a day or two of this video coming out, actually. I kind of have a love affair going with this fragrance right now. Rasasi Hawas made the video. It was mentioned enough. Wasn't overwhelming, but it was enough to make it into the top 10. This is a spicy version of Invictus. Is kind of how you can look at it. A lot of people compare it to the original Invictus Aqua. I think it's more like the original Invictus than Invictus Aqua 2016. Personally, I know this came out before Invictus Aqua 2016. This is a 2015 release. The original Invictus is a 2013 release. This is a monstrosity of a performer, and I have had my fair share of compliments. Has it happened every single time I've worn it? No. That's never happens for me. I'm sure that doesn't happen for most people. I'm sure some people, but probably not that many, because it just doesn't work that way. It's not everybody's going to be compelled to tell you you smell great, but fragrances like this give you a better opportunity. They really do, because it's just something intoxicating about it. It smells synthetic, it's crazy powerful, it's sweet, aquatic, and spicy all at the same time, and it just works. And you can get them cheap. In the $40 to $50 range, 100 ml bottle. You don't need many sprays. I only wear 4 to 5 sprays, and it's more than enough. This stuff is a beast on my skin. Again, not surprised it got mentioned. Happy that it was able to make the video, because like I said, I currently have a kind of a love affair going on with this stuff. According to Instagram and me, a great fragrance to give you an opportunity for a good compliment, Rasasi Hawas. I've had good experiences with this fragrance. I did not think this would get mentioned enough. This just made it. This just made it. Over Prada Homme. Prada Homme didn't make the video. It got mentioned a few times. But Coach for Men, the original, it beat out Prada Homme. This got mentioned quite a bit. I've had great success in the past with this. I don't wear it that much anymore, honestly. I love this stuff still. It has a special place in my heart. It really does. This was one of my favorite fragrances to wear when I worked at Mercedes-Benz back when I lived in Sugar Land, Texas. I used to wear this one on a pretty regular basis. I love this stuff. It's very versatile. even though it's on the synthetic side, it really dresses up and down. I could wear this when I was just wearing one of the Mercedes golf shirts, and it would work well when I was rolling with suit and tie Saturdays, because that was the thing, suit and tie Saturdays. It wasn't a requirement, it was just something I like to do. And it's still a good fragrance. A beautiful pear note up top with this kumquat. There's a nice smooth and buttery suede. It's got a bit of an ambergris, amberwood kind of smell. Not quite ambroxan, but close enough, you know. It's different for being a mass appealing blue fragrance. It doesn't smell like all the rest. It distinctively smells like Coach for Men. I will give it that. It's not the strongest of fragrances. It's very loud in the first hour to hour and a half. Sure, that's your best opportunity in my experience to get a compliment wearing this fragrance. But even for, you know, 2 or 3 hours after, there's a pretty good trail. When you walk by somebody, they'll definitely smell you. It's just I've only ever really gotten like maybe 5 hours on my skin out of this. Like I said, not the best performer, but it's a damn good fragrance. You can get a 100 ml for sub $40 range, 60 mls like this in the $30-ish range. Again, I'm surprised it made the video, but my personal experiences with this have been very good. I've gotten several compliments when I worked at Mercedes-Benz wearing this fragrance of people wanting to know what I was wearing. You never know. You just never know. That's why it's nice to get your nose on as many fragrances as you can to really find what speaks to you the most that you enjoy wearing. Because I'll tell you what, if you're walking by, you feel good, you like how you look, you like how you smell, you're just in a really good mood, the chances of somebody telling you, hey man, you smell really nice, what are you wearing? They're heightened when all of that is just working for you all together in just a beautiful harmony. A great attitude, great hygiene, the right apparel and wardrobe with the right fragrance. Like Coach for Men, you got a good chance of getting a compliment. Well, that's the 10 that made the video. 8 that I have, 2 that I don't have but do have experience with. Shout outs to all of you that are watching this, that follow me on Instagram, that contributed to the compiling of this list for this video. I've really been enjoying doing these according to Instagram videos. They've been a nice dynamic to add to the channel that it's really exciting to see what's going to make it, because I have no control over what's going to make the video. If I don't have it, I just don't have it. And we'll put a graphic on the screen and we'll talk about it if I have experience, what I may have heard of it, or whatever. It's actually quite the fun format for me personally. So until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. What's that one fragrance for you that's watching this video right now? Put it down in the comments. What's that one fragrance that more times than not, this fragrance gives you the best opportunity when you wear it to have somebody tell you you smell nice, pay you a nice compliment? Because like I've said many times in this video, it's more than just spraying a fragrance that smells good. A fragrance alone isn't going to make somebody want to approach you to tell you something nice. There's a whole lot more that goes into it than that, but fragrance can definitely be a part of that. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 10 we featured in this video, give them a spray now. You might get a compliment. You might end up thanking me on Instagram later. Have a good one, guys.